mean, I was a little hippie girl. I was raising kids at the same time. But it's so nice to bring those memories back, isn't it? Like, of those times and the people that sang such beautiful, amazing songs that were so uplifting and helpful at a time when things maybe didn't look so great, which seems to be a repeat. We love repeats, don't we? We love, what are they called in filmmaking? Second sequels, yes. We seem to be experiencing sequels on an ongoing basis. So, it's interesting. I've been writing all week, and I've been thinking all week, and treating all week, and I had 2 different talks, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it go and just see what is coming through, because I had a really powerful week. And one thing I want to say is that my bridge over troubled water is spiritual mind treatment. Thank you for that, Dr. Walt, because whenever I'm experiencing something and I do a spiritual mind treatment, it changes my consciousness, because what it does, it allows me, it aligns my beliefs. Like maybe I've gotten off the mark, and I do a spiritual mind treatment for what I want to be thinking, because I get off the mark just like anyone does at times, especially when you're confronting material reality. And so the spiritual mind treatment helps me shift my consciousness back to where I want it to be, because I do truly understand that, and I know for a fact for myself, is that what we think and how we're showing up in the world through our minds and is definitely making a difference. I say it here every week. So I have a social responsibility to keep my mind as straight and as strong as I can as I walk out into the world, and not just sitting in my meditation chair, but actually taking it out. So I've been going through a lot lately in the way of like, oh, what's my next thing, and what am I doing, and what's my purpose really, and all of that. And treating about it and everything. And this week, so many things showed up, like in different ways, to answer my question. And one of them was this beautiful Native American elder who came to visit with us, and he was the real deal, and just began to talk to us about everything. And he started to talk about joy. And that has been something that I've really been focusing on lately, or trying to focus on, is joy. Because it's hard to think, oh, I have joy when there's so much stuff going on that's not very joyful. But what I came to understand is that joy is an inside job, and the more joy that we can have, the more we're going to put that consciousness out into the field, out into the one mind, out, and it's going to be felt. So it's my responsibility to keep my joy alive in however way that is. And I think every one of us has a different way of keeping our joy alive. And it's very, 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 very important. And so then something else showed up. If you remember Tanner Prentice, Marilyn Taylor's grandson, who passed away, he was in May, and we were all treating for him to be found, and he was, and he had died by drowning. But anyway, his memorial was on Saturday, and we got to watch it on Facebook. And the constant message during that was what a joyful, amazing man he was. He's only 22 when he passed away. But that was his signature, was joy. And what they said, and I really felt like this is so, it can help us move in our sorrow, is our joy. Because what they were saying is they can't bring him back, but they could live his joy. They could live the things that made him happy. They could live for him, through, as him, and live what he so much professed, which was joy, and to have fun and be good with your friends and all of this stuff, and make people happy and do what you can. And so they all that gave their talks, from his grandma to his dad, had that same message. And I thought, God, this is showing up over and over. And I was like, okay, so this is a message for you, Rita, and I think I'm giving it to you because I think it's a message for all of us. And then This is interesting. I want to tell the story in the right way. So we watch a TV show, and it's a really good show. It's called The Gilded Age, if anybody's seen it. Now, I'm giving my interpretation of this. It takes place in the early 1900s, and it's about all the people, the Vanderbilts and Rockefellers and all that stuff and everything that was going on. And I'm not like testifying saying, you know, having unscrupulous behavior is good or anything. But there's something I learned from it, and it was that consistency thing that Patrick was talking about, that consistency. And there was a man who had been, you know, somebody did him wrong, and his whole empire was going to fall down, but he didn't get upset about it. I mean, he was upset for a second, and then he said, no, we'll do this, and we'll bring it back up. We'll do this, and we'll bring it back up. And then his wife's like, well, we could lose everything. He said, maybe, but we'll bring it back up, because that's what we do. We don't fall victim to what somebody else does to us. We'll bring it back up. And so they did, and in the doing of that, the person that did it to him, this is like really in the world of form, ended up down where he was. And he came to him begging him, like, please help me, blah, 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 blah. But this man, you know, he's a little bit unscrupulous, and he was going to make that man suffer, and he's like, no, I'm not. But inside, he was going to do it, but he just held out. And so the other man went home and killed himself. And the reason I'm telling that, and just the next day, this man was going to forgive him and make sure he was okay and all of that. So I guess the point I'm making is that when we get down and out, when we think there's no hope, when we think that it could never turn around, just outside of that is something waiting to happen, but it's happening through us. And there's a point where we just have to have trust, and we have to have faith. And these are all our bridges over troubled water. Yes, spiritual mind treatment, but our consciousness is the biggest bridge over troubled water that we could ever have, because our consciousness matters, and how we hold our consciousness in love, in compassion, in joy is changing everything. I just know it. And so my invitation today is to find your joy. Find what makes you, what stirs your soul. Find what it is. It could be as much as just holding a child in your arms, or being with your grandkids, or it could be painting. It could be doing your business in the most wonderful, amazing way. I know lots of people here that do that already. And I just think we need to keep on doing that. We don't have to create the Golden Gate Bridge. We just need to create our little bridge, whatever that is, and walk it in unity. So thank you for listening, and I hope you got some little nugget out of it. I got a lot of nuggets this week, and I'm just really grateful. So namaste.